Hello Infiniteers, I am back from my short break, and today we're going to continue the build exercise for the Monsters, Inc. factory interior. And the goal today is to begin building the huge door storage area that is accessible from the other end of the scare floor, down over that way. Once again, here's a screenshot of the scare floor from the movie. The area that I'm talking about is accessed from the hole high up in the far wall where the doors come and go. And as you can see from this close-up, there are a pair of rails that bring the doors into the scare floor and haul them away when the scarers are done with them. And it's difficult to see from this photo, but the rails turn 90 degrees to the left just beyond this hole. You can see that pretty clearly in the movie when Mike and Sully hop a ride on a door. After they enter that hole, the rail carries them around a corner to the left. And I believe that's followed eventually by a right-hand turn, but I chose to ignore that turn in order to keep my toy box as compact as possible, and I might talk about that as the build goes on today. Now the rail eventually carries them into this massive room. This is a very tall and a very long room, as you can see. The doors are stored in huge bays along the side of this room, and fortunately, we have a building piece that we can use for those bays. In fact, it is one of only 3 Monsters, Inc. building pieces that we have, and it's unlocked through the Toy Box Speedway game. But everything else that you see in this room has to be built from scratch. Now, as we take a closer look at this screenshot, I first want you to notice that each bay of doors is separated by what looks like a tall, thick concrete column, and the columns are numbered. The one near the middle of this photo is labeled 3. Notice too that the columns stand out away from the doors into the middle of the room, or toward the middle of the room, and I think these columns are actually walls that extend back along the side of each bay all the way to the exterior wall of the building. They divide the storage area into bays, as I said. The second thing I want you to notice is the tall tower in the middle of the room. It stands straight ahead of Mike and Sully in the distance, and it extends from the floor all the way to the ceiling. And if you look carefully, there are actually multiple towers here. They are behind this one, and I believe they're evenly spaced throughout this chamber. And I know it's difficult to see that in this still shot, but you can see it in the movie as the camera pans. Randy's standing here behind all these screenshots, getting bored, I guess. But the towers seem to support the rail system as well as the ceiling. And again, there are multiple towers, and you'll see that in a screenshot coming up in a moment. Now, as you look up and down the tower, you'll see there are ledges and balconies that are evenly spaced. And here's a closer shot of that. The balcony floor looks like concrete, and there's an iron railing around the perimeter. And you can see the next tower in the distance on the left-hand side of this screenshot. And there are balconies on that one too. So there are definitely multiple towers in this room. And this shot shows what the end of the balcony looks like. This particular balcony overlooks the rail system below. Now, if we go back to the main picture of this room, the third and final thing I want you to notice is the ceiling. There are windows up there that let in the sunlight, and this shot gives you a little bit closer look at that. So the ceiling isn't fully covered, which is good because this will allow some light to get into this room in our toy box. And that's important because we don't want this huge room to be dark. So this is what we're going to start building today, and it's going to take us a couple of episodes to build this room because there's a lot here that we need to build from scratch using basic blocks and terrain blocks and whatever else we can scrounge around and find in the Toy Box Editor drawers. But I'm going to begin by putting down my power disk for Calhoun's Command. This is a terrain theme power disk, and we're going to be using this a lot today. And if you don't have this disc, I'll show you some alternatives here in a moment. But we're going to start with this small flat terrain block. We're going to put it right up against the scare floor and right over to the edge of the terrain like you see there. And I'm going to style this with Calhoun's command. If you don't have that power disk, you can use the Imperial Space Station, like we did for the blocks on the other side of the scare floor. Or you can use the kiln. That's a little rougher, and I don't care for that as much, but it'll work. Calhoun's command, though, really is the best texture to use for this, and I'm going to set that to be my theme. Most of the blocks today that we're going to put down are going to use this theme. Oops. We're going to put 2 of these next to each other, and then we'll use the next size smaller to put down a base like that. Alright, and then we'll put this one over here, and we're going to start to frame in that hole on that far wall. So we'll put that in like that. We'll put this one in like so, and then we're going to leave enough room for 2 of these and put the next one down over here. So this gives us our hole, and it's 2 terrain cubes wide. And then we'll put this one in like that, 2 of those. Go back to this piece and put that in like that. And so that frames in the little corridor where the rail system is going to go and lead into that room. And again, in the movie, I think there's another right-hand turn that heads over that way. And you can see from the sunlight in that screenshot how it streams in through the ceiling. It's coming in the same direction as the windows over here. So if you wanted to be accurate, you would have to build that little turn and go over that direction. But I'm not going to do that because I've already started building the toy box out in this direction. And so I'm just going to have this continue in that direction and build this way. And if we turned and built that way, it's going to make the toy box even bigger, which will use up more memory. So memory usage is important. So we're going to go ahead and leave this like that. Now, in order to plug some gaps that we're going to have here, we need to put in a few extra blocks. So we're going to put in a couple of these like this. And if you'll notice, there's a little gap down there in the corner. So we're going to put one of these in there to plug that. And even though we really don't need them, I'm going to place 2 blocks in here like this, just in case the player gets outside the toy box. That won't look weird not having that there. And then we've got the peak of this is extending up beyond that. And so next time, or in one of the future videos, we're going to put the ceiling on here, and we're going to be putting this piece down like that. And I'll just put it in here temporarily to show you that even with that piece in there, we still have a little gap up there at the peak. You can see a little bit of blue coming in through there. So we want to plug that hole. And what I'm going to do that is extend that roof line over just a little bit. If we go up to the blocks drawer, we're going to put down a block here. Once again, we'll style this to be Concrete 2. All of the basic blocks we're going to put down today are styled with the Concrete 2 theme. And we'll place those 2 blocks there like that. And that will plug that gap that's up at the top of that peak. And for right now, let's go ahead and take this piece back out. Alright, so there is the hole that we're going to have that will lead to the door storage area. Now to get there, we need a rail system. And so let's put that in next. This was not part of the original scare floor, but I need a way for the player to get up to the rail slide. And so this just seemed like a natural thing to do. So we're going to come up to the platforming toys and go left to the ledge hang pieces. And we'll start with this double ledge hang. And we're going to tuck that over here like so. So it's behind the support beam, kind of out of sight, because I don't want to disrupt how the scare floor looks here. And then the next piece is going to be this little elevator piece here. And so there is our ledge hang system to get up to the catwalk, which will take us to the rail slide. As you can see, it's kind of tucked out of the side. It doesn't detract from how the scare floor looks. For the catwalk, we will come down to Building Sets Group 5, and if you go to the right just a little ways, you'll come to the kiln ledges, which are these right here, kiln bridge. So we're going to put the first one right up here on the edge of that. We're going to put 3 of these. Oops, the little flick trick isn't working. And we'll put this one here like this. And then we'll put the rail slide in, and we're going to line it up with the corner right there where you see the spark. So we'll go back to the platforming toys, go to the right, and we're going to start with this straight rail. Again, that's going to go right there on the corner of that ledge. And then we just run this all the way down along the length of the scare floor. Like that. And it comes right down the middle of this opening. So that's how all of that lines up. And I know there were 2 rails in the movie, but 1 is sufficient for our purposes. It's also going to save some memory. Alright, that's as much of the rail slide as we'll build today. That's how you get up here. And now you have the rail going down the middle of the scare floor, and that's looking pretty good. Okay, so the scare floor, as I said, is going to go out over that direction. So, let's go ahead and put a couple of spacer blocks in here. And we'll pick this block up just to get back to that part of the terrain editor. I'm going to put down this block here, followed by one of these. That's going to serve as our spacing. Okay. And then we are going to grab this large terrain block. We're going to drop this right in here like this. So right up against the terrain under the scare floor, right up against those spacer blocks. And we're going to bring this all the way down to the bottom edge of that terrain, just like you see there. And let's go ahead and change our theme. I'll use for the floor the same theme that I used for the scare floor, which is the Numancian Island headquarters. And I'll set that to be my theme. And we're going to put down 3 of these. Like that. So as you can see, that's kind of sort of centered under that hole. Not perfectly, but the hole isn't going to be perfectly centered on this room either. Now we can delete our little helper blocks. And you'll notice there's a gap down there along the bottom edge. We're about to cover that up, so don't worry about that. Alright, once again, let's set our theme back to Calhoun's Command. I'm going to restyle this piece that I already styled. To do that. Alright. And then we're going to grab this little block here. Drop that right there like that. And let me pull up my screen grab here to make sure I get this right. Yep. Okay. So we're going to extend that little corridor coming from the scare floor, like you see there. We'll drop this piece over here like that. We're going to drop this one over here like this. And you'll notice this has created basically the same width here that we have with this block. But we're going to place this one over here like this, and another one of these over there like that. Okay, and this is the same block that we had over here. All right, so we're going to build this now all the way to the floor. Oops, wrong way. And then we'll just fill in this wall. So it's 4 high, and we're going to add 2 more up along the top. Like that. Alright, so there's the wall that enters the scare floor with the hole for the rail slide. And that's going to come in there. As you can see, this is going to be a long room, which is good because it needs to match the movie. Alright, so now we will go up to the set pieces. And again, this is one of only 3 pieces that we have for the scare floor. We've already used the scare floor video wall over at the other end of the scare floor. The second piece that we have is the Scream Factory door wall, and this is, as I said, unlocked through Toy Box Speedway. And the only other piece that we have is the interior, the scare door. But we're going to place this right up here like you see, right up against the edge of that terrain. And that's kind of why I was a little picky about where we place this terrain piece underneath, because it makes it real easy to line this piece up. Okay, so we're going to drop that there, put it 2 wide and 3 high. So there's the first bay of doors. And then we need a concrete column that extends out from there. And to build that, we're going to use the basic blocks. So we'll go back down to the blocks drawer. And I'm only going to show you how to build one of these. You're going to build all of them the exact same way. But I don't need to show you how to build each and every one of them. So you're going to start with this tall block, and you're going to place it here like this. And stack these all the way to the top. And then you'll leave enough space here for 3, but don't put the middle one in because it's going to get covered up. And then run these all the way to the floor. Like that. And then for the face of this, we'll use the large block wall, which is this one right here. Put that right on the front. And stack this all the way up. And there you go. There is your concrete wall coming out. Alright, so let's grab the door wall again. And once again, we're going to make a bay here. 2 by 3, 2 wide by 3 high. And then, as I said, I'm not going to build another concrete wall. You're going to build another one structure exactly like that over here. I'm just going to use this, though, for a spacer here, just so I can space these apart, so I can show you how you're building this. And we'll build a third bay. And we're going to end up building 4 bays total. Once again, build a column like that first one that I built down there. And then your 4th bay goes right here like this. Okay. And we can take these little spacers out. Or I can take them out, because you should be building this structure there. Okay, when you get down to the end, and you can see this is a very long room, and we don't really need to make it any longer than that. We just need to convey the idea of the structure of the building there. When you get down to the far wall, we're going to go down to the terrain drawer, and I'm going to go to this terrain cube, and we're going to put one right on the back side of this structure, right down here on the floor like that. Okay? That's just a spacer block. Then we'll grab the small terrain block, and you're going to line this up right with the edge of that, like you see there. So this terrain block that I just dropped is going to hang one cube, or one terrain, or one block rather, one block off the edge of the floor. I say one block again because I'm always measuring things based on this, which is the same size as that terrain cube I just deleted. So the square block, this is 1 unit of measure. This is 1 block. So again, whenever you hear me say things are a certain block wide, that's the unit of measure I'm using. We'll put 4 of these across and stack them up all the way to the top of those doors. Whoops, I didn't want to flick it that way. I was trying to flick it that way. So just like that. Okay. And then once again, we will place our little terrain cube here. And make sure I put this in here properly. Yeah. So it's going to go right here on the end of that, like this. And then we'll pick up our door wall, bring it over here, up against that terrain cube, flip it around, of course. That's going to sit in there like that. You can take that little cube out. And now you're basically going to mirror what you've got on the other side. So you're going to build 4 bays of doors, 3 high and 2 wide, separated by columns. So this is going to line up with that. Come back right over here. Lined up with that. This one comes all the way down here. And again, build a column like this in between all of the bays. And so there you go. That basically frames in the structure. How are we looking on time? Well, we got a little bit of time left. So let's go ahead and put in the trim around the top. We won't put the ceiling in just yet, but so I'm going to pick this piece up down here. And we're going to use this piece next, which is half the height. We're going to line this up like so. So line it up with the edge of the back edge of the scare floor wall, or this scare door storage wall. Take this all the way down to the end, like that. And yeah. Okay. Just making sure I built that right. And then down here, we're going to put this one in like that. We're going to put this one in here like this. Followed by 2 more of these. So that brings this to the back edge of that wall. And now what you'll notice is that's left a little overhang there for the ceiling. And on this end, we're going to use this piece like that. Followed by that piece. Followed by that piece. And then two of these. So that creates a little lip on this side. Like that, which I don't think the player is really going to notice. Alright, and then we'll have windows and stuff up there, but we'll put those in next time, I think. And, yeah, so I will go ahead offline and put the rest of these in before our next video. Okay, let me see if I can give you a good look here at what we've built so far from the standpoint of somebody who would be riding in here on the rail slide. If I can get my camera here to work. Whoa! And there you go. There is our scare floor. Well, I think that's enough for today. Next time, we'll build the towers in the middle of the room, and the ceiling, and some additional features, like some more balconies along the outer walls, and the rail slide system. Thank you for watching. Before you go, please hit the like button and leave a comment to let me know what you think of my design so far for the door storage area. I'd love to hear from you. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already done that, so you don't miss the next episode. To subscribe, just click my photo in the lower right corner of this video and make sure the notifications are on. That's all for me today. See you next time.